My next guest is one of Australia's most respected sports journalists. Eddie Maguire says he's the best in the country and he was lost to Nine for a while, but he's returned back to Nine Perth. He is, of course, Michael Thompson, Tomo, one of the most popular figures around town. And believe it or not, he loves his garden, so let's check it out. Tomo.
Trevor.
Great to catch up, mate.
Yeah, how are you?
Good, this is the garden we've talked about.
This is the one 5 years ago when we were building a new house, and I remember saying to you, what do you recommend? It's a small garden, I want something simple, we need some privacy from some hedges, and this is the way we went.
And these are both viburnums. This is suspense and this is a terrific one. Generally does very, very well in cooler spots. I suppose on the south side of the house, this is doing really well through here.
Yeah, it thrives, particularly when the summer finishes. It doesn't mind the summer, but it really goes crazy from about March onwards, and it's in great nick. But the tyness, we have some issues here, Trevor. I'm glad you're here.
All right, shall we have a bit of a look through? Because it doesn't look 100% happy.
It just looks unhealthy, and look, here's a classic example here. It's sort of dying in patches.
Yeah, and these are the areas that are getting more exposed to sunlight. Now, the problem's something that you really couldn't pick, Tomo. If you actually have a close look, it might be a little bit more obvious, but you can see there's damage underneath the leaf here. This is caused by a thrip, and it's basically scarring the tissue. And when it's exposed to full sun, it gets a burn. But when it's in the shade, it just loses its lustre and colour and just doesn't look very healthy at all. So this isn't sunburn as such. It really is this damage of this insect. So you've got to use a systemic insecticide to control this. There's one called MaxGuard, which is a very, very low toxicity chemical, very, very low, but exceptionally effective at controlling thrips. So I'm going to set you up with some of that because that will make the difference. And a lot of people lose hedges this way. So it's really important that you do treat it. You can't get away with not getting rid of that thrip problem.
Perfect timing that you're here.
Yeah. Tomo, what about Frangipanis? You mentioned you've got a couple of rippers, actually.
Well, I remember I spoke to you again when we were establishing the garden. This is one of the classic old-style Frangipanis. It got absolutely belted by the hailstorm that came through here not long after we moved in, but it's bounced back really well. This was a branch from an old tree. A friend of mine who's a builder, who actually built this house, they got a really old tree and cut some branches off, and this is an old branch and it looks great.
Doesn't it amaze you just how easy it is to grow a Frangipani? I mean, they are such... But this is the best of the lot, Tomo. This beautiful white with the yellow centre is the most fragrant of all of them, and it's the hardiest of all the varieties. It's certainly the best for Perth.
Beautiful.
Good choice, my friend. Well done.
Thank you.
Now, Tomo, this area is fantastic, but this old Frangipani looks like it copped a bit of a hiding at some point or another.
Well, this was planted just after we moved in, but this too got hit by that huge hailstorm which came through this whole area.
Right. That's about 3 years ago, wasn't
it?
It
absolutely devastated all of the plants. What was left really was this was a branch that was cut off which we'd planted. This is all that was left. You can see the damage here, Trevor. It was just
that's
amazing.
Actual hailstone smashing in against it and it's torn the bark away, and it's slowly sort of recovering. But this plant has grown so well. It just shows how good they are in this environment.
They've got to be close to my favourite plant. They're just magnificent.
It's a ripper. Your choice of plants in here is sensational. You've done really well. Tomo, thank you so much for having us around your place.
Thanks, Trevor, and thanks for your great ideas with the hedge. I'm going to put them into use very quickly.
You need to, because that is a pretty serious problem that most people have, but it can be fixed.